Let's discuss a little woodworking controversy, and that is, should one or should one not put glue into their pocket hole joints when they put them together? So I'll tell you a little bit of my story with this. My friend Charlie had a big cabinet shop where they were making face frame style cabinets all the time. Got kind of far behind on work, and he was so desperate for help, he asked me to help for a day. So I went over there and I was helping him put face frames together. And I'd put the parts together, rails and stiles, drive the screws, rails and stiles, drive the screws, and he noticed I was not putting glue in the joint. So he called me out on that, and I said, well, you know, everybody knows it doesn't do any good to glue end grain because it's so porous, it soaks it up, there's no real bond there. And he said, I don't care what you think you know, we always put glue in the screw pocket joints. So I put glue in the pocket hole joints. As it turned out, I had one rail that I mislocated just a little bit, so I had to move it. So I took the screws back out and I grabbed that rail and I pulled on it and it didn't want to move, and I pulled on it and it didn't want to move. And this was like, I don't know, between 2 and 5 minutes after I had put it in, so really close to assembly time. And in the end, when I pulled on it harder, long grain from the mating piece came with end grain from the rail. So that told me Charlie was probably right. Do not ever tell him I said that. But Charlie was probably right, and glue is a good idea in these joints. So here's our experiment today. And I recognize this is not a 3M laboratory. This is my woodworking shop. However, we'll see what happens. On this pocket hole joint, there's glue in there. On this pocket hole joint, there's no glue in there. So what we're going to do is put these in a vise, pull on them. Now, same species between the two joints. They're all red oak. The parts are all the same length. So I'm trying to make this a little bit scientific. So let's do the no glue one first. A lot of people put their pocket holes together without any glue in the joint. Grab it in a vise. And then what I'm going to do is try to just consistently grab this end of what would be your rail. Pocket holes are going that way. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm having a mind change. I'm going to turn this around so you can see the pocket hole joint. All right. So I'm going to try to just push in the same spot on both of them, and we'll kind of see what happens here. All right, no glue. And what we did is the screws held great. Pulled them right through the end grain of the mating piece. Now, glue, or eog, I guess, for you. All right, so I'm pushing harder now than I was on the first one. All right, now if you look, we've got the same thing going on. Those spots on the end grain are pieces of long grain that were pulled out of this piece, and it took quite a bit more tension to get this one to go than it did the first one. So, again, I'm the first to admit, you know, this is marginally scientific, but my lesson out of this is, what does it take to add a little bit of glue to that joint? Not much. And I firmly believe that it adds a lot of strength to the joint, so it's worth doing. And like I said, please don't tell Charlie I said so. So glue in the pocket hole joints, that's my vote.